The general consensus is just that this kind of fucks with you. I'm not gonna cry because I can't cry apparently. I'm done. In every sense of the word. It gives cult vibes. Oh my god, this book is crazy. Massive plot twist. This one's like massive and I... Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog. I'm going to try and film this intro very quickly because I need to leave very soon to go to a lesson. But I did just want to start off by first of all talking about a couple of books that I've read recently. One book that I'm not going to talk too much about that I've just finished, like I finished a couple of days ago, was Bunny by Mona Awad. If you have watched my videos for a long time, so like basically from the start of my channel, you all know I read this last year and I really loved it and it was one of my favourites of the year. It's just so super weird and wacky and it kind of like scratches my brain in a way that I just can't explain. Do I understand it? Could I tell you what it's about? Not really, but I really loved it. I give it 5 stars, the same as last time. Another book that I finished that I don't think I spoke about was The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is the first book in the Folk of the Air trilogy. This was fantastic. I gave it 4 stars. More so in, well, I mean, yes, because it's not like fully like a favourite or anything like that, but I did really enjoy it and I'm anticipating that it's going to get better. Like, I have a feeling the series is going to get better. If you don't know what this is about fairies, fae. We go into this like fae world where basically at the beginning we get introduced to Jude and her twin sister and her older sister. And she is living with her mum and dad, and then basically this dude turns up and he's like kills her parents. It's not a spoiler because it happens right at the beginning. He kills her parents and then like basically takes her and her sisters. They get taken and go back, and basically we then continue like the majority of the story where we're just following Jude in this fae world, and like she is, you know, like trying to figure out what to do with herself because she is different from the vast majority of people around her. She gets seen in a certain way because of the fact that she's human, and yet she also doesn't get like treated necessarily badly in comparison to other humans in the fae world. There's a lot going on in this book. It was really fun. I loved the vibes of it. It felt very medieval. It felt kind of like grim fairy tales, and I don't mean necessarily like the Brothers Grimm, I just mean fairy tales that are grim. All in all, very vibey. I love this a lot. I finished a sapphic romance. It was called Written in the Stars by Alexandra Bellefleur. This was basically about two very different women who get set up by like a mutual person, and it starts off not being great, and then a situation arises where they basically agree to fake date, which I think is a very fun trope. I very much enjoy it, especially because there's like from the get-go you know that they have chemistry, like there is kind of a spark between them, but it's more so for logical reasons that they decide that they don't think they're compatible, but they fake date anyway. Is there anything else I want to talk about? No. Let's talk about the books that I'm reading at the moment. First book I'm reading at the moment, I mentioned this in my last vlog, said that I wanted to focus on it and then I did not. This is Jade Legacy, Fondly, 3rd book in the Green Bone trilogy slash saga or whatever the frick it's called. I'm just really enjoying this so far. I also really want to try and like talk about it. Some crazy things have happened, some really crazy things. Sometimes my brain is a little bit too slow when I'm reading to realise the things that are happening at the time, and then it kind of hits me when I'm like halfway through another chapter. Like, I read this thing that happened, and if you know, you know, this massive thing happens that like basically could have changed the whole landscape of like this whole scenario and situation and place that they're in, right? I don't know, there was one thing that seemed very positive about it and I just focused on the positive thing, and then I got halfway through the next chapter and someone said something and I was like, maybe it's not as positive as I thought, and then everything was just like flipped on its head. I was like, what the, like, the general consensus is just that this kind of fucks with you. Although I do consider myself a stone cold bitch to a certain extent, so I don't think it's going to affect me in the way that it probably should. The second book that I'm reading is Wicked As You Wish by Rin Chapeka. This is also a fantasy, but it's more YA fantasy. It's got loads of different types of characters. I probably need to go. I'm running out of time and I've been talking for a while, so I will talk to you later. Okay. Oh my god, my head just went all dizzy then. It's Thursday today. I don't have any lessons. It's actually 1:30 because I just haven't been bothered to pick up the camera, as per usual. The only book that I've been reading today and yesterday is Jade Legacy. One thing that I noticed while reading, because basically I knew this going into it, and like it became very apparent, like kind of straight away, that there are these time jumps, and they're not necessarily like significant. They'll be like usually like under a year or something like that. And one thing that I noticed is that they're like really disorientating for me personally. I'm aware of the fact that the time has jumped because like it makes it very clear in the thing. It like tells you when it is, but it's like having to then remember the fact that there are characters that are like constantly growing older, and like putting that into perspective and everything, especially with like the younger characters. For these characters that are younger, that I've kind of gotten used to being kids, and then all of a sudden they're doing very adult things, and I'm like, what the like what? No, why are you doing some other like exciting, or like not necessarily exciting, that's maybe the wrong thing to say, but like interesting things have happened, important things that have happened. There was one thing that like, I don't know, maybe I just wasn't questioning it that much, but one thing happened, and then like another thing happened in conjunction with that one thing, and I was kind of shocked by that second thing, but like I shouldn't really have been shocked by it because I should have really seen it coming. This makes absolutely no sense because I'm literally talking about the third book in a series. I mean, there are also some things that like I tabbed because I have been using like the cheapest tabs I could find because I don't want to be using my money on pieces of plastic. The characterization of all these people is so bloody brilliant. Like the way that Fonda Lee writes characters is fantastic because they all do feel like they are related to each other. Like you can see parts of certain characters' personalities in other characters, but we also see like how there's contrast, like there's differences even within one family. There's like different ways of experiencing things and like different ways of looking at the world and stuff like that, which is really interesting. If you haven't read this series, I would definitely recommend it. I'm gonna go for now because, as I said, I want to do some work. I'm not gonna cry because I can't cry apparently. I'm just so annoyed at myself right now because the way I look and my emotional status right now just don't match up. This book, I mean, it should be blue because blue is the colour of sad, and this sad. Something happened and it involved a character that quite honestly, like, what the hell is going on with this chick? Okay, I don't think that I had enough time to appreciate as a character. And I don't think that like up until this point, like I just didn't think that like I was attached to this character, and then this thing happened. And like it might be the saddest moment for me personally. It's the worst kind of sad thing where like you're anticipating it and then it doesn't happen. And you're like, oh, we're out the woods, like we are in the clear, we're good. And then it happens and then you're like, no. Look, I'm trying to make myself cry so that I don't oh, what, like, on the one hand, I'm like, yes, I know Fonda Lee, you needed to do something. You needed to one-up yourself. You've already fucked with us enough, and now you need to, like, doubly fuck us over. But did you have to do it like this? Because as much as emotions are great and everything, there's a whole plethora of them that you could be giving us. And instead you focus on the sad. Just the fact that I am having, it's, you know, it's just like, it's choking me up right now. I'm just like, why? This thing just happened. And it was so quick, and it was so dramatic, and it was so like, I don't know, maybe other people would have been expecting it. I wasn't. It was kind of out of the blue. It's an emotional roller coaster, I'm not gonna lie. To be honest, there's not many highs. It's a weird kind of roller coaster. Seriously, I feel so bad for them, and they don't even exist. They don't exist, Chloe. They are fictional. They are written from someone's brain onto a piece of paper, and I love them all, and I don't want anything to happen to them, and I can't control it. Why am I doing this? I really hope that she continues writing fantasy because she is so absolutely phenomenal at it. Like, I don't think that I have read a better written fantasy book, and like I've read some fantasy books that are said to be really, really well written, and these ones are just like definitely take the cake for me. My absolute dream would be for her to expand this world so that we get to visit different places. As much as like I want to continue following the Cole family, I feel like there are a lot of other like avenues that she could go down. Like there's so like even just within this trilogy there's such a big world, but we're only focusing on one like tiny part of it that we should definitely like. We've had like little glimpses, but like that's more in conjunction with what this family are doing, so it'd be really interesting to visit like different areas, because there's clearly like a lot of tension and like lots of things that she could pick up on loads of different places. But you see me on the news. Hello. So I'm very, very close to finishing this book. I am both super excited, but also kind of like I don't want to finish it, because once I finish it, like I'm not going to see these characters for a while, and it'll be really sad. These books are just absolutely gorgeous. They're absolutely stunning, beautiful pieces of literature. I think I've got like, how many pages have I got like left? I don't know, 50 pages, just over 50 pages I think maybe 60 pages or something like that. I do want to get some Anki flashcards done, and I also really need to tidy up, and I think that's what I'm going to do now, because I've been putting it off for longer than I probably should. Slightly embarrassing to say. Oh, also, because it is the end of the month, I need to try and figure out, usually I don't make TBRs, but I am going to be taking part in the Tis the Damn Readathon. I do want to try and finish off my TBR. I've started doing a digital bullet journal. So I do it in, go away software update. I do it on my iPad in GoodNotes, that's what it's called. And I just created like this little template anyway. But I've basically, as you can see, started doing, this is that backwards? I don't know. I've started doing a TBR. So I've already got like the majority of books in there. I just need to find, I think, 4. Some dog is just outside my window now. Anyway, hello everyone. I've just filmed a video. I also just had a bit of a shocking realisation. I realised that there's this book, Sundial by Catcher in a Ward, which is coming out in March, and it's going to be archived on the 2nd of March. So I've got 4 days to read that. So I'm going to try and squeeze that in. I'm going to try and do my best. This sounds really interesting. Basically, there's like this family, and one of the kids, Callie, she like collects like tiny animal bones and like whispers to like non-existent beings. It just sounds like either she's a serial killer in the making, or there's some kind of like supernatural weird shit going on. That is what's going on. I think I'm going to sit down and try and finish Jade Legacy. If I sit down and make myself a cup of tea and just sit down and have a good time, and then I will be able to start Sundial by Catcher in a Ward. Finito. I'm done. In every sense of the word. I need to go and sort out my card, but I will leave you with a few parting words. The clan is my blood, and the pillar is its bloody master. I'm really not feeling how I look right now, but we're gonna ignore that. I am eating pancakes because I decided I wanted to try and, because it's Sunday, I thought I wanted to try and do something nice for myself, so I made pancakes. I have started reading Sundial. Like I mentioned in the last clip, I needed to get it done, and it's proved to be quite a quick read. I am quite enjoying it. It's been really weird. I'd say the first quarter was just like really giving me child serial killer, or not like necessarily like serial killer in the making vibes. And I know that you shouldn't like generalize and be like, just because a kid likes to play with bones means they're going to be a serial killer, but there's definitely some kind of like psychopathy, sociopathy. We kind of have, I guess, 2 main characters, because it kind of shifts perspective between the mum and the daughter. There's definitely got to be trigger warnings for like psychopathic behavior, and like a character with absolutely no remorse. Like, she does some very horrible things to her sister, so like if that triggers you, definitely don't pick it up. Also, trigger warnings for kind of like animal abuse. I mean, there's not really animal abuse as such. It's unclear whether she finds roadkill and then like kind of does the whole Jeffrey Dahmer like hydrogen peroxide, melt the flesh and keep the bones, because she makes like artwork out of these bones, which is like so creepy. So I don't know if whether she does that or she actually kills the animals herself. That's like unclear. but there's definitely that element. And then there's also another part which I was not expecting at all, which is flashbacks to when the mum was growing up in this kind of like, it gives cult vibes. It gives cult vibes, but like very, very small cult, like family. They call their house Sundial, and that's why it's called Sundial. And they live in the desert. Within this house, this property that they live on, they are actually doing like animal testing. So that's also another thing, if that's something that you can't read, like if it's triggering for you, just be careful with that. But I've been really enjoying it. This is the first time I think where I've read an arc and like I've genuinely enjoyed it and like something I would have picked up otherwise. It's giving a lot of the things that I really enjoy, like the kind of serial killer aspect, or like the psychopathy, sociopathy aspect, the kind of cult slash secluded family. I am reading Sundial still. I'm like just over halfway through. I thought I would be further in, quite honestly, but I'm just over halfway through. I've kind of explained what this is about, but like also not fully. So as I said before, we are following a mum and a daughter, and they're kind of like our two main characters that we flip between, but there's also like different time periods that we're looking at as well. So the mum's called Rob and her daughter's called Callie, and she feels really disconnected from Callie, and Callie does some, like, she seems like a bit of a weird child, and her mum's really worried about that. But there's also like a tension between the mum Rob and her husband. About a quarter into the book, this mum basically decides to take her daughter in this like attempt to basically first of all separate her from her other daughter. Also there seems to be some kind of ulterior motive. Like when we then go into Callie's mind, she seems to think that something is going on. She goes there and then she starts basically telling the story of how she grew up, which, as I said before, was also very fucked up because it feels very cultish. I don't know where it's going to go, honestly. It's kind of like, at the moment, I'm just along for the journey. I'm going to go and I'm going to read. Yep. Guys, this book is wild. I mean, it's not even that crazy. It's not that crazy, but it also kind of is. There was this plot twist that I read, and you know when you read a plot twist and you're just like, oh my fucking god. And it's like not the biggest plot twist in the world. It's happened before, it will happen again. But there was just something about it, I think the way that it plays into the story. I didn't think that I would be updating this soon again. Oh my god, this book is crazy. It's honestly, it is crazy. I really like it. I really like it. I like the craziness. Oh my god. Massive plot twist. This one's like massive, and maybe someone with a few more brain cells than me would be able to figure this out, but like honestly, this plot twist, it really snuck up on me. I didn't think about it at all. And it's also extremely, extremely vulgar. I can't even think of a word to describe this. I just read something on the page that I stopped on and now I am scarred. Oh, this book is so fucked up. Like, so messed up. Ugh. But if you like it, which I do, I like messed up stuff. Because apparently the real world isn't enough for me, so I seek it out in fiction. So I'm going to do a little wrap up to kind of end off this vlog, because I realised that I didn't really talk too much about Jade Legacy. Jade Legacy. Ended up giving this 5 stars. Absolutely phenomenal. If you're going to take anything away from this vlog, it is to make sure that you get your hands on and read the Green Bones saga. Such a phenomenal book. As I said before, I would so happily give all my money to Fonda Lee if she just continues to write books within this kind of like universe. I would absolutely love it. It would make my little heart very happy. I think that all the character storylines, like all of the arcs in this, are absolutely phenomenal. I think it's done so well. Fonda Lee is a master of pulling at your heartstrings, making you think that things are fine and then being like, no they're not. And then like just slapping you in the face. And then just after you've recovered from that first slap, she slaps you again. And then a couple of quick ones just to, you know, really leave you in pain. If you have read these books and you are aware of the different characters, I'm just going to give you a rundown of some of my favourite ones. As I said, Andon is for sure a favourite. I really enjoy Shay and Wen, particularly in this book. The like younger characters that we got to see, not that much of because of the fact that they were younger, but like towards, I would say, the last like half of the book or something like that, when the kind of younger generation starts to step into a bigger role in the clan and stuff like that, and we see them growing up. I really enjoyed that. Each had their own role and their own characteristics, but they were all like equally such amazing characters. It won't be anytime soon, I don't think, but I will be rereading this series at some point because it is gorgeous. And then yesterday I did finish Sundial. This book is crazy. Like literally, I don't think that I can elaborate any further really than what I did in my last few clips. So in Goodreads, I've put it as 5 stars. But I've also written somewhere between 4.5 and 5, so therefore I've rounded it up to 5. The last half was the strongest half, and the first half was a little bit on the slower side. The last 50 or so pages, there was so much going on that I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. There were so many twists. I will say that that's one thing that I really loved about this book, is the way that the twists were put in. I think sometimes there's a bit too much of a regularity in thrillers and stuff like that where the twists come, whereas this one really felt like it was spontaneous, if that makes any sense. And I guess that's why the ending was kind of a bit confusing for me in terms of like what I really thought of it, because it was very quick. It was like the tempo really had kind of like an exponential, is that exponential? Is that the one? I can't remember math. Quite slow at the beginning, it got faster, and then at the end it was like the sprinting to save their life, and like just loads of twists and stuff like that. And there was a part where I was like, it should be done now. And I think there was at least 25 pages where I was just like, yeah, I could have like done without that. That is what I thought. So I'm gonna end this vlog here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then feel free to click the subscribe button. It would mean the world to me, and I will see you in my next video.